Picture this. You're sitting at a restaurant with some American friends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the ambiance is great. The food has just arrived. You take a single bite, and suddenly the server appears right next to you and asks, how is everything?
Right. The classic mid-meal ambush.
Exactly. And man, that moment of panic you feel. It happens because dining out isn't just about eating. It's like a high-stakes linguistic dance.
It really is.
You sit there with your fork suspended in the air, just wondering what they actually want from you.
Right.
Like, do you give a deeply honest culinary critique of the sauce? Do you just nod and say it's fine?
And wait, if you say it's fine, did you just inadvertently insult the chef?
You very well might have.
Yeah, you really might have. In American restaurant culture, what you say and what you mean can be two entirely different things.
So true.
The vocabulary we use to navigate a meal is just loaded with hitting social rules. We aren't just looking at what to say, but why we use these specific phrases.
Right, because we're dealing with a complex social contract here. Every interaction is this delicate negotiation of boundaries and expectations.
It's fascinating, honestly.
So let's get right into the mechanics of that. And I feel like that delicate dance of control actually starts long before you even see a menu.
Oh, absolutely. It starts at the front door.
Right. We talk about getting a reservation like it's scoring a VIP pass, but looking at the language we use, it feels more like a social contract of intent.
Which is a great way to put it. And just to define that term really clearly for this deep dive, a reservation is literally a booking made in advance to secure a table.
Right, a booking. But, okay, let's unpack this. If I ask for a reservation, is it an absolute guarantee?
Well,
Or are we still at the mercy of the host telling us your server will be with you shortly?
you're definitely still at their mercy. That reveals the actual power dynamic at the host stand.
Yeah, because you walk up, you announce your name, you say, we're a party of 4, and half the time you still have to wait.
Exactly. We tend to think of a reservation as a guarantee that a specific piece of real estate is yours at exactly 7:00 p.m.
Right.
But from the restaurant's perspective, the language they use at the door is explicitly designed to manage your expectations.
It's all about controlling the flow of the room. Right?
Precisely. When the host smiles and says, right this way, and then immediately hands you off with, your server will be with you shortly, they are establishing a boundary.
They're softening the blow.
Yes.
They're basically saying, we acknowledge you exist, but you are now operating on our schedule.
That's exactly it. The phrasing bridges the gap between hospitality and logistics.
I love that. Hospitality and logistics.
And this is especially true if you don't have a booking and you're asking about walk-in availability.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any walk-in availability?
Right. The term availability is a very polite way of framing a potential rejection. It makes the lack of a table sound like a logistical reality of the space, you know?
Yeah, rather than a personal refusal. Like, it's
Right.
not you, it's the availability.
Exactly. It maintains the illusion of total hospitality even while telling you to go away.
So true. But if you do get in, diners have their own subtle ways of trying to assert control right back.
Oh, for sure.
Don't just ask for a table. You say, could we get a booth? Or, do you have a window table?
Or you look around and say, could we get a quieter spot?
Right. It's this gentle tug of war before you even sit down.
And that tug of war shifts to a completely different gear once the host hands you the menu.
Because the menu isn't just a catalog where you point and grunt.
No, not at all.
It's the start of a dialogue. And again, it starts with pacing.
The rhythm of the service.
Yeah. When the server approaches, there is a massive difference in the evening's trajectory, whether you say, we're ready to order, versus, could we have a few more minutes?
You are telling the kitchen how to pace their night with those phrases.
Right.
But the real linguistic complexity happens when you start modifying the dishes.
Oh, modifications, yes. The menu is presented as a finished product, but culturally, we view it as a baseline.
Exactly. The language of modification is basically a safety net.
You're using phrases like, without the cream sauce, or could I substitute the fries for a salad?
Let's actually run through that mini role play from our sources with the two diners, Alex and Jamie, to show how this works.
Let's do it.
So Alex wants the pasta, but Alex has a dairy allergy.
Right, lactose intolerant.
Yeah, so the order isn't just, I'll have the pasta, it's a negotiation. Alex asks, can I get the pasta but without the cream sauce?
And the kitchen responds by substituting olive oil.
Right. That negotiation shows how the diner uses linguistic tools to customize the experience for dietary safety.
It's totally essential.
And it's not just about avoiding allergens either. It's about information gathering.
Like Jamie in that same scenario.
Exactly. Jamie is eyeing a new salmon dish, But Jamie doesn't just order it blind.
Right. Jamie asks, is it spicy?
Yes. And the server clarifies that it's very mild, just herbs and lemon. It's a fact-finding mission.
I love that. But here is where I always get tripped up, honestly.
Oh, where's that?
Well, one of the most common phrases we use to start an order is asking the server, what do you recommend? Or what's popular here?
A very common phrase, yeah.
But honestly, aren't you just giving them a free pass to upsell you the absolute most expensive dish on the menu? It feels like walking into a car dealership and asking the salesperson what you should buy.
Okay, that is the cynical view, certainly. And, sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
But the phrase, what do you recommend, actually serves a much deeper cultural function. It isn't entirely about the food.
Oh, really? What is it about?
It's about building rapport with the server.
Ah, so it's a relationship tactic.
It is. You are acknowledging their expertise. By asking for an insider perspective, you are inviting them to step out of the robotic role of order taker and into the role of guide.
That makes a lot of sense.
It humanizes the interaction. You're breaking the fourth wall of the restaurant environment to say, hey, you work here, what's the actual secret?
I really like that framing. You're recruiting them to your team for the evening.
Exactly.
You see the same thing when ordering drinks at the bar, right?
Huh?
Asking what's on tap.
Oh, yes. What's on tap?
Such a specific insider phrase. And we should define on tap here. It specifically means draft beer or drinks served from a keg system, not from a bottle or a can.
Right. You're not just asking what beer they have. You're using the terminology of the draft system to signal that you understand how a bar operates.
It separates you from the person who just points at a bottle in the fridge.
Exactly. It establishes a shared vocabulary.
Okay, so you've navigated the host stand, you've established the pace, you've negotiated your modifications, and you've recruited the server to your side.
A successful start.
Yeah. And then the food arrives, which brings us right back to our opening hook.
Here we go.
You take your first bite, the server swoops in. How is everything tasting?
The mid-meal check-in.
Yes.
It is perhaps the single most misunderstood question of the entire dining experience, especially for anyone navigating American restaurant culture for the first time.
Because it feels like a trap. Why ask how it is if you don't actually want to know how it is?
Because it forces us to distinguish between literal meaning and social function.
Okay.
The phrase, how is everything, is not a survey, it is a courtesy check.
Courtesy check.
Right. The social expectation is a short, overwhelmingly positive answer. Like, it's great, thank you.
It reminds me of passing an acquaintance in the hallway at work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they say, how are you? You say, good, how are you? You don't stop and say, well, my car broke down, my back hurts, and I'm having an existential crisis.
No, you definitely don't.
You just want that standard positive acknowledgement to keep the social gears turning.
That is a perfect analogy. It is a script both parties are expected to follow. The server is essentially asking, is there a catastrophic failure I need to address, or may I leave you alone?
That's hilarious. Catastrophic failure.
Mm.
So when is it actually acceptable to break the script?
Well,
If I can't complain about the sauce being a little too acidic, when do I speak up?
the threshold for breaking that script is a genuine, objective problem.
Okay, objective.
Right. Complaining that a dish is too salty is subjective. The server didn't make it, and saltiness is a matter of personal preference.
True.
But getting fish instead of chicken, that is a broken contract.
Ah, so it has to be a factual error.
Yes. The phrase to use then is polite but firm. Something like, actually, I think my order might be wrong. I ordered the chicken.
Right. It's an opportunity to correct an administrative error, not an invitation for a culinary critique.
Exactly. And this check-in is also about boundary management.
Because nobody wants to feel rushed.
Right. It's the perfect time to drop pace phrases.
Like no rush at all.
Yes, or we're in no hurry, or could we have a bit more time before dessert?
Which is you politely pushing back against the restaurant's ticking clock.
Exactly. The server is naturally trying to turn the table over for the next group of guests.
Right. They need the table.
But by saying no rush, you are verbally staking your claim to the table for a little while longer, but doing it under the guise of being a laid-back, easygoing customer.
It's brilliant. We use politeness as a shield to get what we want.
We really do.
Okay, so you've given the server the obligatory everything is great hallway greeting response.
Yeah.
They walk away.
Right.
But what are you actually communicating to your friends sitting across the table from you?
Now that's a different story.
This is where the lexicon of flavor comes in. And man, the language we use among our peers is entirely different from the polite script we give the staff.
It exists on a very specific and highly inflated spectrum.
Inflated is the perfect word for it. We don't just say things taste good anymore.
No, we don't.
The positive expressions scale all the way from a mild, it's pretty good, to it's amazing, all the way up to it's to die for.
To die for. It's a fascinating idiom, isn't it?
It really is.
We should define that one, too. It means something is so extremely good, so rare and worthwhile that you would hypothetically trade your life to experience it. So dramatic.
It is. Like in that scenario with Jamie. Jamie tastes the salmon and tells the table it is honestly to die for.
It's the ultimate culinary compliment, and we back it up with all this intense textural vocabulary.
Oh, yes.
We say, it melts in your mouth, meaning it's incredibly tender. Or we say, it's so rich.
Which contextually is such an interesting word.
Yeah, because when you call a chocolate cake rich, you aren't talking about its bank account.
Right. You mean the flavor is intense, heavy, or deeply sweet.
Exactly. But the real cultural minefield isn't the hyperbolic praise, is it?
No, it's the gentle criticisms, the negative descriptions.
Right.
We use phrases like, it's a bit salty, or a bit bland, or the ultimate passive-aggressive dismissal. It's not really my thing.
Not really my thing. Ouch. Which brings us to the most dangerous word of all.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
The word we use every single day in normal conversation, but which becomes a lethal weapon in a restaurant.
Fine.
Yes. It's fine, honestly.
It is a trap. It really is. Because if someone asks me how my Tuesday was, and I say it was fine, that means it was a totally normal, acceptable Tuesday.
Right.
But in American English understatement, saying a meal is fine actually means it is mediocre.
Yes. It means it wasn't good.
It is a profound disappointment.
It is damning with faint praise, and this highlights a core psychological aspect of American dining culture.
How so?
Think about the context of the event. Dining out is often communal. It is celebratory.
Sure.
You're spending a significant amount of disposable income, and you are with friends. Because the baseline financial and emotional investment of the event is high, the language inflates to match it.
So if I spend $80 on a steak, it has to be incredible to justify the cost.
Exactly. Words like incredible, amazing, or to die for become the new baseline for simply acceptable.
Wow.
So when you drop all the way down to fine, you are violating the celebratory atmosphere. You are signaling that the food failed to meet even the artificially inflated baseline.
By saying it's fine, you're essentially popping the balloon of the whole evening.
You are.
You're admitting defeat.
In a subtle, socially acceptable way, yes. You avoid making a scene, but you make your disappointment perfectly clear to your table mates.
That is wild. Okay, so the plates are cleared.
Yeah.
You've shared all your superlatives. It was amazing. It was rich. It melted in your mouth.
Or it was just fine.
Right, or it's fine. And now, diners must face the absolute most mathematically and culturally complicated part of the evening.
Paying the bill.
Paying the bill. The logistics of the transaction.
And there's a distinct vocabulary for this, too, which varies depending on where you are.
There's the transatlantic divide right off the bat.
Yeah.
In the U.S., you ask for the check. Could we get the check?
Right.
Whereas in British English, it's the bill. Though, to be fair, bill is perfectly understood in the U.S. as well.
The terminology is the easy part, though. The complexity arises from the geometry of how to pay it.
The geometry.
The phrases have to be highly specific to avoid awkwardness at the table. You might ask the server to split the check, which implies dividing the total evenly among the party.
Okay.
Or you might ask for separate checks, meaning everyone pays only for the specific items they ordered.
Which is a nightmare for the server, by the way.
It really is.
But sometimes you get lucky, and someone at the table uses the most beautiful phrase in the English language.
I've got this one.
I've got this one. A powerful phrase.
It means one person is generously assuming the entire financial burden for the table.
A true hero. But no matter who is paying or how the math is divided, you have to deal with the cultural reality of tipping in the United States.
Yes. And we need to be very matter-of-fact about this. For anyone visiting the U.S., it is incredibly rigid.
Extremely. 18 to 20% is the standard for regular service.
Right.
15% is considered the bare minimum, almost a polite insult. And 25% is reserved for truly exceptional service.
Those are the numbers.
But I have to push back on the whole concept of calling it a tip. If 15% is the absolute bare minimum, even for just regular, unremarkable service, then tipping isn't really a bonus at all, is it? It's
Wow.
essentially a mandatory hidden fee.
Structurally speaking, your observation is accurate. In the U.S. system, the gratuity is not genuinely optional in the way it might be in other parts of the world.
Right.
It is an expected structural part of the bill that directly subsidizes the server's wage. It is a cost of doing business that is passed directly to the consumer at the point of sale.
Which makes paying attention to the receipt so critical.
It does. And there is a vital vocabulary term to look for here.
Gratuity.
Gratuity, which we should define as the formal word for a tip. It's a payment added as a reward for service.
But like we said, not really a reward, just part of the structure.
Exactly. When you look at your receipt, you must ask yourself, or the server, is gratuity included?
Because if you don't ask, you might end up tipping 20% on top of a bill that already has a 20% fee baked into it.
Exactly. Many restaurants will automatically add an 18 or 20% gratuity to the bill, especially for larger parties of 6 or more.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know the vocabulary and you don't scan that receipt for the word gratuity, you risk double paying that structural fee.
It's a very expensive linguistic oversight to make.
Very expensive.
It's like navigating a minefield right up to the very last second. You have to know the code to know what you're actually paying for.
You really do.
So the bill is settled, the gratuity is calculated, and you finally walked out the front doors.
You survived.
You survived the restaurant. But the deep dive isn't over,
No, it's not.
because the vocabulary of food follows you everywhere. It bleeds into our casual, everyday conversation.
Food is a cornerstone of social identity. The way we talk about it when we aren't eating it is just as important as how we order it.
It's so true. Think about the phrases you hear in the office or with friends, like, I'm at a huge sushi kick lately.
On a kick, meaning you're temporarily obsessed with it.
Yeah, or I'm totally obsessed with Korean barbecue. Or my personal favorite, people who proudly identify as a foodie.
Now, the term foodie is a fascinating sociological marker.
Oh, definitely.
It denotes someone who loves food and actively seeks out new culinary experiences. But more than that, it's a badge of honor.
Right.
It signals that you view food not just as fuel, but as a hobby, an art form, and a valid cultural pursuit.
It's a way of saying, I have refined taste.
Exactly.
And we also use food vocabulary to communicate our boundaries and our ethics, right? Dietary preferences are a huge part of modern identity.
They are. We use terms like vegetarian, vegan, or pescatarian.
But we also soften those strict labels with conversational phrases.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to eat more plant-based, or I'm cutting back on carbs right now.
Notice how phrases like cutting back on carbs act as a social softener?
A softener.
Yeah. Saying, I am on a diet can make the people around you feel judged or self-conscious about their own food choices. But saying, I'm cutting back, frames it as a casual, temporary personal preference. It removes the moral weight from the conversation.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you might reassure a host who is cooking for you by saying, I'm not a picky eater. I'll eat almost anything.
Which is the ultimate conversational relief for anyone throwing a dinner party.
Seriously. All of these phrases serve a dual purpose. Yes, they inform your friends about what your stomach can handle,
Right.
but they also signal your lifestyle, your discipline, and your flexibility.
And beyond ethics and discipline, there's the deeply emotional side of food vocabulary.
Oh, yes.
The concept of comfort food.
I love this concept.
Eh.
And let's define it, too. Comfort food isn't about nutrition or even refined culinary technique.
No, not at all.
It's food that provides emotional satisfaction, that provides a sense of nostalgia.
It is an edible form of emotional history. When someone tells you what their comfort food is, they are telling you a story about their childhood, their culture, and what makes them feel safe. A bowl of macaroni and cheese, a specific type of pho, a pastry that tastes exactly like the one their grandmother used to bake.
Yeah.
The food itself is almost irrelevant. It is the emotional resonance that matters.
Which is such a beautiful way to look at it. Man, we've covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We started at the host stand, navigating the power dynamics of securing a reservation. We learned how to negotiate with the menu, modifying dishes for allergies using words like substitute and without.
Right.
We decoded the mid-meal, how is everything? Courtesy check. And translated the true, often mediocre meaning of the word fine.
A very important lesson.
And we even calculated the structural reality of the American gratuity and how to avoid double paying it.
We have mapped the entire social and linguistic terrain of the meal.
We did. But before we go, we always like to leave you with a little something extra to chew on. pun intended.
Nice. Well, this raises an important question that builds on all the vocabulary we've just explored. We use terms like plant-based or foodie or not a picky eater to describe what we eat. But aren't these phrases actually describing who we are?
Oh, wow.
Food vocabulary is no longer just about sustenance. It has become a primary way we signal our identity, our personal ethics, and our emotional history to the rest of the world.
That's powerful.
Think about it. What does your comfort food secretly communicate about you?
That is a profound question to think about the next time you're sitting down to eat. What's your comfort food, and do you have a go-to phrase when you want to describe food you absolutely love? Tell us in the comments.
We'd love to hear it.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the words you use every day. Stay curious. And remember, the next time you tell the server a dish is to die for, you better mean it. If you're new here, subscribe so you don't miss next week's deep dive. We'll catch you next time we unpack a new stack of sources together.